Happy Tuesday, everybody. Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. Hope you're off this week. I am. If you're not, hope you're at least off Thanksgiving and Friday. All right. Anyway, hey, because of Thanksgiving holiday, I'm basically doing two shows today because I'm going to be going out of town. So we're doing a week 13 review and we're going to preview everything coming up this weekend. Last Saturday, man, we had a couple Saturdays in between. Remember those? We had like 2 or 3 badass Saturdays where people were just getting beat, upsets, crazy stuff happening. Then the couple Saturdays after that, still had some good games, but nothing quite like that. Then we got the last Saturday. Man, crazy stuff happened last Saturday. We're going to go over that, and we're going to go over what's coming up. Got a lot of news items to get to, so we're going to get to that before we start. Hit that subscribe button wherever it is so you don't miss anything. With that, let's get started. SEC, they have fined Auburn and Oklahoma $100,000 for field storming. I think I read it's their first offense, so if it happens again, then it's going to go up. Anyway, Tulsa, they have fired head coach Kevin Wilson. He went 7-16 in 2 seasons. Lost to South Florida last Saturday, 63-30. That pretty much did it in there. Prairie View A&M, actually up the road here, not quite too far from here. They fired head coach Bubba McDowell. Remember him? I do, because he was a Houston Oiler back down that way down the road, back when the Oilers were here in Houston. Bubba McDowell, he went 17-17 in 3 seasons up the road there at Prairie View A&M. Bama star linebacker Deontay Lawson out for the season. He's got a lower leg injury. East Carolina, they are set to promote interim coach Blake Harrell to head coach. Since he took over last month, they've gone 4-0. So they like what he's doing, so they're going to make him, looks like they're going to make him head coach there. Penn State, they lost outside tackle Anthony Donka to a right knee injury, and defensive tackle Alonzo Ford to a lower body injury. James Franklin says these are long-term injuries, so they're probably not going to return this season. What are we doing here? Oh, Houston coach Willie Fitz, he announces the OC Kevin Barbay has been relieved of his duties. Quarterbacks coach and passing game coordinator Sean Bell, he will take over play calling there at University of Houston. FCS playoff bracket is out. They have 24 teams in their playoff bracket. I don't think FBS would work at 24. I would like to see it moved out to 16, but who knows that? If this 12-team thing is a success like I think it is, maybe in a few years they'll kick it out to 16. But I think probably 24 for FBS is probably too much. But it works for FCS. Yeah, you got some slaughters and stuff happening in the first round. But anyway, we'll go over those teams in there. But the top 4 seeds for FCS playoff, those northern teams, number 1, Montana State. Number 2, North Dakota State. Number 3, South Dakota State. Number 4, South Dakota. Montana didn't make it in the top 4, but they are in the playoffs. We'll go over that in a minute. A couple basketball items. Tennessee forward J.P. Estrella. Man, season just started. He is out for the season with a foot injury, man. God, that sucks. You know, we read about this stuff in August. Fall camp, players are ready for the season, and they have a season-ending injury in fall camp. Estrella, early in the season, so he's going to be out. Man, that just sucks. That just really sucks. UConn coach Dan Hurley said, this is his quote, not mine, the refs made shitty calls in their loss to Memphis on Monday. I didn't see that game, so I can't vouch for him whether or not he was right or wrong, or if he was just pissed off. But yeah, sure there'll be some fines coming there. All right, so we're going to go back to our review. We'll go back to Friday. UTSA, they are 6-5. They beat Temple 51-27. Michigan State, they are 5-6, beat Purdue 24-17. UNLV went to 9-2, beat San Jose State 27-16. San Jose State is 6-5, so they are bowl eligible. Basketball, number 11 Tennessee beat number 13 Baylor 77-62. Number 12 Duke beat number 7 Arizona 69-55. Moving on to Saturday, Boston College beat North Carolina by 20. Both of them are 6-5. Ole Miss and Florida. Wow, I did not see this one coming. Florida has gotten better. We have seen that. They even said they're bringing back Billy Napier next year. They like what he's done in the last few weeks. But I did not see this one coming. Florida beats them 24-17. DJ Lagaway, 180 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw an interception. Montrell Jackson ran for 107 and a touchdown. Jackson Dart, 323 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but threw two interceptions. Both of those on the last 2 drives of the game. It just didn't look like Jackson Dart those last couple. It kind of reminded me of a freshman quarterback being thrown into a game and just chunking crap all over the field. I mean, that's what Jackson Dart, the last 2 drives, looked like. Very uncharacteristic of him. He was also the leading rusher with 71 yards for Ole Miss, so that's kind of crazy. 14-14 at the half. Florida outscored them 10-3 in the second half. Ole Miss was 3 for 14 on third down. Florida was 7 for 15. Gators had 120 yards less in the total yards column than Ole Miss did. Ole Miss 0 for 3 in the red zone. Florida was 2 for 2. Gator defense forced 3 turnovers and had 4 sacks in that one. So, Ole Miss is they're, unless some crazy stuff happens in the next 2 weeks, this weekend and Championship Saturday, they're probably out of the college football playoff talk. Miami 10-1. They beat Wake Forest 42-14. Cam Moore, 280 passing yards, 2 touchdowns to Jacoby George. Also ran for a touchdown. Cam Ward broke 2 more single-season records, most passing yards and most completions in a single season. Both of those have been held for 40 years by anybody? Bernie Kosar. Remember Bernie Kosar from back then? Syracuse, man, they used to have a mid-season collapse. Remember, they'd always start off great under Dino Babers, and then mid-season they'd start falling apart. They're having a great year. They're 8-3, beat UConn 31-24. UConn's also had great bounce back for them. They are 7-4 this year. Kyle McCord for Syracuse, 470 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran for a touchdown. UConn's Joe Fagano, 228 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Edwards had a 71-yard touchdown run. Like I said, even though they lost, great turnaround for that UConn program. SMU, they are 10-1, beat Virginia 33-7. That clinches them a spot in the ACC championship game. Kevin Jennings, SMU quarterback, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran for a touchdown in that game. Jacksonville State beat Sam Houston 21-11. Both of them are 8-3. Iowa 7-4, beat Maryland 29-13. Iowa's kicker, man, Drew Stevens, 17 points. Nice for him. Indiana, you played a great game in the first half. Then you were outscored by Ohio State 24-8 in the second half to lose 38-15. Will Howard for the Buckeyes, 201 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. Curtis Rourke never could really get anything going, never could get in the rhythm for Indiana. Only 68 passing yards, no touchdowns. Hoosiers TD came on the ground. Tyson Lawton, 78 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Buckeye defense, 5 sacks, held Indiana to just 151 total yards, 2 for 2 in the red zone. Indiana had less penalties, more first downs, were better on third down, but they still lost. People are calling them a fraud. I don't think they're a fraud. They've got a really good team, really good players, great coach. The teams they're beating, a lot of them are going to bowl games. I just think they ran into a team better than them. So I wouldn't call them a fraud. A lot of people are. Why? I don't know why. Still a hell of a team, having a hell of a season. And they got Purdue this week, so they could really have a great record at the end of this. Illinois, 8-3, beat Rutgers, 38-31. Rutgers, man, they started off great, faded. They are 6-5 now. Illini are actually down by 1 with 1 second left. Luke Altmaier throws a 40-yard pass to Pat Bryant for the touchdown to win that game. Georgia 9-2 beat UMass 59-21. I hate these games in November. UGA playing UMass, Alabama playing Mercer last week or the week before, whenever it was, a couple weeks ago. Play those games at the beginning of the season to warm up, to work out your kinks and all that stuff. I hate these games in November, but it's part of football. Liberty's 8-2 beat Western Kentucky 38-21. Western Kentucky is 7-4. Liberty 419 rushing yards in this game. Quentin Cooley ran for 116 and 2 touchdowns. Tennessee's 9-2 again beat UTEP 56-0. Nico Lamalava 209 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. FSU wins the second game. Congratulations. They are 2-9 now. Beat Charleston Southern 41-7. I guess the FCS game worked in Florida State's favor. Bowling Green is 7-4. They beat Ball State 38-13. Bowling Green's Raheem Smith rushing touchdown and 2 touchdown catches. Nice game for him. Appalachian State, they are 5-5 now. They beat James Madison, who's 8-3 now, 34-20. App State's defense, 2 turnovers, held James Madison to 1 for 2 in the red zone and had 3 sacks. Never would have thought Appalachian State would beat James Madison. Appalachian State just not that good of a team this year like they usually are. Arkansas State, they are 7-4, beat Law Monroe 28-21. Louisiana Monroe, I don't get it. They beat James Madison a few weeks back in September maybe. Started off great. Now they have faded. I don't know what they're going to do. Georgia Southern, they are 7-4, beat Coastal Carolina 26-6. Coastal Carolina, 12 first downs, 2 for 12 on third down. Had the ball 17 minutes less. That is not going to get you a win. South Florida, they are 6-5, beat Tulsa 63-30. Tulsa fires their head coach. Listen to this, South Florida. 31 first downs in this game, 10 for 17 on third down, 715 total yards. Crazy. West Virginia 6-5. They beat Central Florida 31-21. I don't know what the hell happened to Central Florida. Kansas does it again. Where's this team the last 3 weeks have been the whole season? I don't know. Beat Colorado 37-21. Kansas 5-6. Colorado 8-3 now. KU's Jalen Daniels 189 passing yards and a touchdown. Devin Neal 207 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 80 receiving yards, and a touchdown catch. I think he showed up Travis Hunter. What do you think? CU Shadir Sanders 266 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Nice game for him. He was the top rusher, though, with 26 yards. Travis Hunter, 125 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a great game, too. Kansas had the ball for 40 minutes in this game, had 29 first downs, 9 for 13 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth down, 520 total yards, 6 for 7 in the red zone. But Colorado did outpass them. 266 yards to 189. But Kansas outrushed Colorado 331 yards to 42 yards. Woo. East Carolina, they're 7-4, beat North Texas 40-28. North Texas is 5-6 now. Eastern Carolina's Raheem Harris, 128 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Quarterback Caitlin Hauser, 298 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Remember we talked about when that coach, the intern coach took over in September, they were 4-0. Offense has proven it. They are a lot better. Chandler Morris, though, for North Texas, great quarterback. He had a good game. 266 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to Blair Cartwright. UNT actually led this game, 21-7 at halftime. East Carolina outscored North Texas 24-9 in the third quarter alone. But something the new coach is going to need to work on. They were 13 for 127 in penalties. That ain't going to work. Texas Tech 7-4 beat Oklahoma State 56-48. Oklahoma State, boy, they just keep falling. They'll be glad when this season's over. They are 3-8. Texas Tech's Behreen, I think that's how you say Behreen Morton, 404 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Taj Brooks, 133 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Ollie Gordon, though, for Oklahoma State. I don't know if he's the only good player. 162 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns in this game. Texas Tech was 14 for 22 on third down. Both teams had 32 first downs in this game. Both had over 540 total yards in this game. Texas Tech, though, 9 penalties for 103 yards. Texas is 10-1, beat Kentucky 4-4, who's 4-7 now. Beat them 31-14. I don't know what's going on with Kentucky. Quinn Ewers, 191 passing yards, 2 touchdowns to Gunnar Helm. UT's defense, linebacker Anthony Hill, 6 tackles, 2 sacks. Nice. They had a total of 6 sacks and 2 turnovers posted there for the Texas defense. Arizona State, boy, what a turnaround. They are 9-2, beat BYU 28-23. BYU 9-2 now. Cam Skattebo, boy, cool name, badass player. 147 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Sam Levitt, the quarterback, 247 passing yards and touchdowns. Jake Ratzlaff, though, for BYU, had a good game. 297 passing yards, touchdown. Did throw 2 interceptions, though. Kaleem Marion, 2 rushing touchdowns. ASU defense, Simmons, Alford, and Robinson all had 5 solo tackles. Robinson had a pick. He ran back for 64 yards. Unfortunately, he got tackled. Couldn't make the touchdown. BYU's linebacker, though, Glazer, 8 solo tackles. Nice. Premature field storming at the end of the game. Officials decided, hey, there's 1 second left on the clock. Was it Dillingham, Arizona State's coach, was pissed, yelling at the refs. Took 15 minutes to clean the field. BYU threw a Hail Mary that was no good. Lost the game. Cal, man, they are 6-5. They beat their rival Stanford 24-21. Stanford actually led 21-10 going into the fourth quarter. Cal said, hey, this is a rivalry game. Let's win it. So they did. They are 6-5 now. Remember they had that losing streak. Started with Miami. Played Miami great in that game. Lost, and they kind of have a losing streak. Well, kind of gotten back on the horse. Michigan is 6-5, beat Northwestern 50-6. Wildcats are just falling apart this year, man. They had that great season last year after Coach Fitz got fired. 4-7 now. I don't know what's going on up there in Evanston. Penn State, boy, they pulled one out. They are 10-1 now, beat Minnesota by 1, 26-25. Minnesota led 19-16 at halftime. Drew Aller, 244 passing yards, touchdown, ran for a touchdown. Penn State had 2 late 4th down conversions to help them win that game. Penn State, they are 5-0 on the road for the first time since 1985. Good news for Minnesota. Kicker Dragan Kirsch, 11 points in this game. Nice game for him. Penn State was only 1 for 11 on 3rd down, but 3 for 4 on 4th down, so I guess they kind of made it up. Nebraska going bowling. They are 6. It was like the first time since, 2016 or something like that. They're 6-5. Beat Wisconsin 44-25. Wisconsin drops to 5-6. Not sure how much longer the Badgers are going to put up with Luke Fickell. Did a phenomenal job at Cincinnati. Came over to Wisconsin. Just hasn't gotten that. Paul Chryst, the guy they fired, was doing better than this, but hey. Dante Dowdell for Nebraska, 3 rushing touchdowns. Wisconsin, remember, they fired their OC, Phil Lango. After that, only had 15 first downs, went 3 for 10 on 3rd down. So, I don't know. Maybe the OC wasn't the problem. Louisville beat Pitt 37-9. Both of them are 7-4 after starting off the season pretty damn good. South Carolina, man, these guys should be undefeated, but mistakes just kind of hurt them in those losses. They're 8-3 now. Beat Wofford 56-12. Lenora Sellers, 307 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, only 4 incompletions in this game. This guy's great. Arkansas 6-5, beat Louisiana Tech 35-14. Taylor Green, 221 passing yards, 2 touchdowns to Isaac Tesla. Green also ran for 2 touchdowns in this game. Also, Arkansas, 1 for 11 on 3rd down. Both teams were 4th down happy, though. They love 4th down. Louisiana Tech was 3 for 6. Arkansas was 3 for 4. So there you go. Missouri 8-3 beat Mississippi State 39-20. Poor Mississippi State. 2-9. They are just waiting for basketball season started. They're just waiting for baseball season to come back around. Marcus Carroll from Missouri, 3 rushing touchdowns in that game. Louisiana, they are 9-2. Beat Troy 51-30. And wasn't Troy, weren't they Sun Belt champions last year? I think they were, or they played for it. Man, they're just not good this year. Fields, 323 passing yards, 2 touchdowns for Louisiana. Davis ran for 3 touchdowns. Raging Cajuns clinch a berth in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game with that win. For the second week in a row, I was looking forward to a Service Academy game. Last week it was Navy and Tulane. Game sucked. This week it was Army Notre Dame. It's going to be good. Sucked. I'm not going to do it again next week. I don't care who they're playing. Notre Dame beats Army 49-14. Riley Leonard, 148 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Jeremiah Love, 130 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and a touchdown catch in this one. Bryson Daly for Army, only 26 passing yards in this game, which is expected, but he ran for 145 and 2 touchdowns. Notre Dame is 10-1. Army is 9-1. Baylor has turned things around, beat Houston 20-10. Baylor 7-4 now. Houston fires their OC after that loss. I forget who they got this week. We'll go over it. But, man, they could go 8-4 after the last season or so, which was crappy. I think the last 2 seasons for Baylor have been crappy. Georgia State, they are 3-8 now. Beat Texas State, who's 6-5, 52-44. 961 total yards in that game between those two. Boise State, they're 10-1. Barely got by Wyoming, though. 117-13. Ashton Jeanty, 169 rushing yards and a touchdown. Wyoming, that's another team that's been good the last several years. Just fell apart this year. I don't know what's going on there. Pac-2 champions. We have the Pac-2 champions, and they are Oregon State. Beat Washington State 41-38, which I never would have thought. I thought Washington State would have beat them. Oregon State 5-6. They got a chance for a bowl if they win. Washington State drops to 8-3. Beavers win it on a 55-yard field goal from Hayes to win that game to become the Pac-2 champions. Congratulations to them. Marshall, man, they are 8-3. They beat Old Dominion 42-35. Braylon Baxton for Marshall, 215 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for 140. Marshall having a great year. I don't know what to say about this game. I cannot believe this. Well, actually, I can't believe this crap being an Aggie fan. We're just used to this kind of garbage. Auburn beats them 43-41 in 4 overtimes. Auburn had them down 21, I think 21-0 at one point. Aggies did come back. I'll tell you something. Texas A&M versus Texas this weekend. I was looking forward to this game. I have no confidence now in Texas A&M. Lost to Notre Dame, which, okay, it's the first game of the season. You're working out stuff. Crazy things happen in the first game. Okay. But then to get waxed the way you did by South Carolina, losing to Auburn, who's been a dumpster fire most of the year. Yeah. Aggies, I hope you win, but I really have no confidence that you are. If they do, I will be shocked. I will really be shocked. Anyway, winner goes to the Southeastern Conference Championship game to meet Georgia. OU is 6-5, pulls the upset over Alabama 24-3. I can't say I'm not surprised this happened. I did think Alabama would play a lot better. OU's a good team. They just had some crap going on this year. But I didn't see this one coming. The way defense held Alabama was just crazy. Held them from the start. Outstanding defense. Held Bama to 13 first downs, 234 total yards, 1 for 1 in the red zone. Also forced 3 turnovers in this game. Bill Lewis, he had that 49-yard pick six right when they needed it. Xavier Robinson, 104 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for the Sooners. Jalen Milroe, 164 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Alabama falls to 8-3. Alabama fam is falling apart. Should have seen on Paul Feinbaum yesterday, especially that one guy, Legend. Oh man, I thought he was going to stroke out yelling at the into the phone. But yeah, Alabama fans are not happy. They are not happy. They're spoiled for so long. I mean, Nick Saban, all that he had that great run. Had a couple not so good, some not good years in there, but I mean, Gene Stallings won the national championship just 30 years ago. So yeah, Alabama's been spoiled, and they're seeing the light now that everybody else sees. Iowa State 9-2 beat Utah 31-28. Carlson Hansen for Iowa State, 2 rushing touchdowns. Iowa State still alive for the Big 12 championship game. Don't know what's going to happen, but they're still alive in that race. They have to have a lot of things happen, though. LSU 7-4 beat Vanderbilt 24-17. Vanderbilt 6-5. Going to a bowl game. If I remember right, we'll go over it. They got Tennessee. That could be an interesting game because Vandy is a lot better than they have been. Nesselmeyer threw for 332 and a touchdown pass to Lacey. Williams, he ran for 90 yards and a touchdown. Vanderbilt's Pavia, 186 passing yards and a touchdown. Also ran for 43 yards and a touchdown. Duke is 8-3, beat Virginia Tech 31-28. Virginia Tech, one more shot to make a bowl game. They are 5-6. Malik Murphy, 332 passing yards, 3 touchdowns to Eli Ponko, who had 188 receiving yards. Wow. Also read somewhere, I didn't see the game, but Malik Murphy was shooting a finger or something to Hokie fans. He's going to get in trouble for that, but I don't know why he did it, but he did. Ollie Jennings for Vautech, 158 receiving yards and a touchdown. Duke actually had this ball 17 minutes less in this game. Only 12 first downs, 2 for 11 on third down. It had 90 yards and penalties and still won that game. Kansas State, they are 8-3, beat Cincinnati 41-15. Giddens, 143 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for the Wildcats. Fresno State, they are 6-5, beat Colorado State 28-22. Colorado State falls to 7-4. Both these teams had 91 yards and penalties in this game. USC, 6-5. They beat their rival UCLA 19-13. UCLA falls to 4-7. Somebody made a good point on TV. UCLA had a tough run first half of the season. What would have happened if those were switched? You know, the last games were first, the first games last. I don't know. Maybe they'd be going to a bowl game. UCLA actually had better offensive numbers in this game. Led 13-9 heading into the fourth quarter, but USC pulls it out. All right, so FCS, things shaped up. Playoff field is set. It happened because of Yale went 7-3, beat Harvard 34-29. Harvard is 8-2, 140th edition of that game. Central Connecticut 7-5, beat Duquesne 21-14. Duquesne is 8-3. Coastal Carolina or Central Connecticut's defense, 7 interceptions in this game. Richmond 10-2, they beat William & Mary 27-0. Columbia 7-3, beat Cornell 17-9. Dartmouth is 8-2, beat Brown 56-28. Lehigh is 8-3, beat Lafayette 38-14. North Carolina Central is 8-3, beat Delaware State 52-10. New Hampshire is 8-4, beat Maine 27-9. Drake is 8-2, beat Stetson 49-10. San Diego is 8-3, beat Morehead State 37-14. Presbyterian moved to 6-6 because they beat Butler, who's 9-3, 30-27. Rhode Island is 10-2, beat Bryant 35-21. Monmouth is 6-6, beat Stony Brook 55-47. Stony Brook is 8-4. Villanova is 9-3, beat Delaware, who's 9-2, 38-28. Illinois State is 9-3, beat North Dakota 35-13. South Carolina State, they are 9-2, beat Norfolk State 53-21. Eastern Kentucky is 8-4, beat Northern Alabama 21-15. South Dakota 9-2, beat North Dakota State 29-28. Both of them are, I think, I read right just a few minutes ago. I think they're both in the top 4 seeds. South Dakota, though, they won this game, scoring a touchdown with just 12 seconds left. Incarnate Word, man, they are on fire. 10-2, beat East Texas A&M 38-24. The quarterback, Zach Calzada, 333 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for a touchdown. This guy's just incredible. Montana State, they are 12-0, beat their rival Montana Grizzlies 34-11. Montana is 8-4 now. Tarleton State is 9-3, beat Central Arkansas 39-14. Mercer is 10-2, beat Furman 49-23. Jackson State is 10-2, beat Alcorn State 48-10. Northern Arizona is 8-4, beat Eastern Washington 30-18. South Dakota State is 10-2, beat Missouri State 45-9. Missouri State is 8-4. UT Martin is 8-4. They beat Lindenwood 33-26. Took overtime to do it. Stephen F. Austin is 7-5. They beat Abilene Christian, who's 8-4, 32-19. Tennessee State beat Southeast Missouri State 28-21. Both of them are 9-3. UC Davis is 10-2, beat Sacramento State 42-39. And Idaho is 9-3, beat their rival Idaho State 40-17. No top 25 upsets in basketball on Saturday. All right, so upcoming now on to our preview part. You got some tonight. 7-4 Toledo versus 3-8 Akron, 6 p.m. on ESPN2. 0-11 Kent State. Can they get that win so they're not a goose egg this year? I don't know. They're playing 7-4 Buffalo. That one's at 6 p.m. on ESPN+. Basketball, number 6 Houston versus number 9 Alabama tonight at 7. Number 1 KU versus number 11 Duke, 8 p.m. on ESPN. But you got some games this afternoon. Hey, if you're at home, got some good college basketball games on, or if you're at work, watch them online. Get this. 2:30 on ESPN, number 2 UConn versus Colorado. Both of them are 4-1. Also, 3:30 on TNT, 5-0 Oregon versus number 20, 4-1 Texas A&M. Got some afternoon basketball to watch at work if you're stuck at work today. Wednesday, tomorrow night, no football games. I figured there would be, but nope. But you got basketball. Number 20 Texas A&M versus number 21 Creighton. 5:30 on Max. Unless it slips my mind, I'm not sure what Max is. Thursday. Okay, so Thanksgiving night, we used to have the Egg Bowl. Remember Ole Miss, Mississippi State? That was always a tradition. It's going to be on Friday this year. So I was like, well, what are we going to watch? Here's what we're going to watch. Ready? Thanksgiving night. 9-2 Memphis versus number 20, 9-2 Tulane. There you go. Probably going to be a better game. Ole Miss is a great team. Mississippi State, bottom of the barrel. I don't know what happened to them. This game actually might be better than the Egg Bowl. So there we go. We got some good college football on Thanksgiving night. Now, Thanksgiving. If you don't want to watch NFL football, you've got number 18, 6-0 Florida versus 6-1 Wake Forest. 1:30 on ESPN. This is basketball. Number 13, Purdue, who's 5-1 versus 5-0 North Carolina State. 2 p.m. on FS1. Number 19, Arkansas, who's 4-1 versus 4-1 Illinois. 3 p.m. on CBS. 5-0 BYU versus number 3 Ole Miss, who's also 5-0. 4:30 on FS1. Number 25, 5-0 Mississippi State versus 4-1 UNLV. 8:30 CBS Sports Network. Great college basketball games Thursday afternoon. But if you're like me, you're going to be planning to watch them, but you're going to be zonked out from all the food and alcoholic beverages. But maybe you could stay awake and watch them. All right, so Friday, Black Friday, while the women are out shopping, that's what we usually do in my family. Women go out, brave all that garbage going on out there in the stores. We stay back, alcoholic beverages, watching football. 5-6 Oregon State versus number 12, 10-1 Boise State, 11 a.m. on Fox. Hey, Oregon State, the Pac-2 champions. They beat Washington State, a great Washington State team. They've got a lot of confidence. Can they beat Boise on the blue turf? Who knows? This one, 3-8 Oklahoma State versus number 16, 8-3 Colorado, 11 a.m. on ABC. Remember the day after Thanksgiving, back in the day? Colorado and Nebraska, man, they used to battle it out the day after Thanksgiving. 6-5 Minnesota versus 5-6 Wisconsin, 11 a.m. on CBS. Wisconsin trying desperately to get to a bowl game. 7-4 Miami of Ohio versus 7-4 Bowling Green. Good MAC battle there, 11 a.m. on ESPNU. 3-8 Ball State versus 8-3 Ohio, 11 a.m. CBS Sports Network. 7-3 Navy versus 7-4 East Carolina, 11 a.m. on ESPN. 2-9 Mississippi State versus 8-3 Ole Miss, the Egg Bowl, 2:30 on ABC. This one may not be too bad. 8-2 Liberty versus 8-3 Sam Houston, 2:30 on CBS Sports Network. If I wasn't going out of town, I'd probably go to that game because Huntsville's just right up the road here, about an hour. But I'm going the other direction. 4-7 Utah State versus 7-4 Colorado State. That's 2:30 on FS1. 6-5 Texas State versus 6-5 South Alabama. That's 2:30 on ESPN Plus. 3-8 Stanford versus 6-5 San Jose State. 3 p.m. on CBS. This one here is going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to watch this one. 7-4 Georgia Tech versus 9-2 Georgia. Georgia Tech, we've seen them. They have a habit of jumping up and biting people. Bit Miami this year. Thought they bit Florida State in the first week, but then we saw Florida State the rest of the year and said no. But, man, rivalry. These guys play every Friday after Thanksgiving. Georgia Tech's a great team. Georgia, not the Georgia we've seen. We could have an upset. We could. That's at 6:30 on ABC. Georgia actually better in the passing game, but these two are pretty even in the rushing game. And then also you got one that's always going on, good rivalry lately. 6-5 Nebraska versus 7-4 Iowa. 6:30 on NBC. Nebraska better in passing, but Iowa is better in the rushing game. And then you got 7 p.m. on Fox. 4-7 Utah versus 4-7 Central Florida. Back in the summer, Utah versus Central Florida looked like a great game. So Fox probably said, oh, that's going to be great for Thanksgiving or Black Friday night. And it turns out, not so much. All right. On the Saturday, 11 a.m. on Fox, the big one everybody talks about, 6-5 Michigan versus 10-1 Ohio State. Number 11, Tennessee versus 6-5 Vanderbilt. That's 11 a.m. on ABC. Vanderbilt's not a bad team anymore, so you never know. 11 a.m. ESPN, 8-3 South Carolina versus 9-2 Clemson. Good rivalry here. I would not be surprised if South Carolina wins this game. They are playing at Clemson, though, so you never know. 11 a.m. CBS Sports Network, 6-5 UTSA versus 9-1 Army. 11 a.m. on Big Ten Network, 8-3 Illinois versus 4-7 Northwestern, their annual battle rivalry. It's always usually a pretty good game. I don't know about this year, though. SEC Network, 7-4 Louisville versus 4-7 Kentucky, another rivalry. 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus, 7-4 UConn versus 2-9 UMass. Not sure if this is a rivalry or not. I really don't pay attention to it that much. But UConn, like we said, the last few years they have been terrible. They could get 8-4 wins this year, or they could go 8-4 this year. So keep an eye on that one. 11 a.m. on ESPN2. 5-6 Kansas, who's been playing lights out the last few weeks, versus 7-4 Baylor. Can they play lights out again, beat Baylor, go to a bowl game? On the other hand, can Baylor get to 8 wins after the crappy seasons they've had? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. 11 a.m. on FS1. 6-5 West Virginia versus 7-4 Texas Tech. That's a pretty good Big 12 battle. 11 a.m. on ESPNU. 9-1 Louisiana versus 5-6 Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe started off great. They're not so good now. They want to go bowl game so bad. Interstate game. That could be a pretty good one. 12:30 on ESPN Plus. Eastern Michigan versus Western Michigan. Both of them are 5-6. Both need a win to go bowling. 2 p.m. on the CW. 7-4 Pitt versus 6-5 Boston College. Same story. Both these teams started great. Pitt even went undefeated for a couple months. Then both of them kind of fell off. I don't know. 2:30 on CBS. Classic rivalry that's gone on for years. 10-1 Notre Dame versus 6-5 USC. That's always been a good game the last several decades. 2:30 ABC. Iron Bowl. 5-6 Auburn versus 8-3 Alabama. Hey, maybe Auburn can win this game. I don't know. Remains to be seen. Always a good game, no matter what the record is of one of the other teams. So anyway, 2:30 on ESPN. 2:30 on ESPN. 10-1 Miami versus 8-3 Syracuse. That's probably going to be a pretty damn good game. And they're playing up there in the Carrier Dome, if they still call it the Carrier Dome, which gets pretty loud. This one's kind of interesting. 2:30 on ESPN2. 6-5 Cal going to Dallas to play 10-1 SMU. Cal is playing better. We've seen that. They won last week, beat their rival Stanford. 2:30 on the SEC Network. 6-5 Arkansas versus 8-3 Missouri. 2:30 on Fox Sports 1. 6-5 Rutgers versus 5-6 Michigan State. Rutgers started off pretty damn good. Got to October, kind of fell off. Michigan State trying to get that 6th win to go to a bowl. 2:30 on ACC Network. 5-6 North Carolina State versus 6-5 North Carolina. That's always a pretty good rivalry. If I remember right, it was the last year or the year before, North Carolina was doing great, and NC State beat them. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. Crazy. 3 p.m. on ESPNU. 8-3 Jacksonville State versus 7-4 Western Kentucky. 5:30 on ESPN Plus. 7-4 TCU versus 5-6 Cincinnati. 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus. 5-5 Appalachian State versus 7-5 Georgia Southern. 6 p.m. on ESPN. 6-5 Oklahoma versus 7-4 Iowa State. Can Oklahoma keep that magic going from last weekend? Get to 7 wins and look a lot better than 6-6. 6:30 on NBC. This game has usually been good in the last several years. I don't know about this year. 6-5 Washington versus undefeated Oregon. Usually a good game, like I said in the past. I don't know. This one here, man, after what happened last weekend, I'm still going to watch it, but 6:30 ABC, 10-1 Texas versus 8-3 Texas A&M. Rivalry finally renewed after all these years. Winner goes to the SEC Championship game. Like I said, after what I saw at Auburn last week, just don't have confidence in my Aggies in this one. But I will still tune in and root for them. 6:30 on Fox. This one might be pretty good. This one might be, you might have to have 2 screens going. 8-3 Kansas State versus 9-2 Iowa State. That's always been a pretty good game in the past. I don't see why it won't be this year. 7 p.m. CBS Sports Network. 3-9 Nevada versus 9-2 UNLV. Nevada's not as good as they have been, but it is an interstate rivalry game. Could be pretty good. Same thing with this one. 7 p.m. ACC Network. Virginia versus Virginia Tech. Both are 5-6. But they've always had pretty good battles when this rivalry game is played. And then 7 p.m. on ESPNU, Marshall versus James Madison. Both are 8-3. That could be a pretty damn good game there. All right, so you got some late night games. I don't know. It's late. It's the last Saturday of college football, late night games. So I mean, we got championship weekend, but the last full Saturday of college football. 9:15 on ESPN. 4-7 Houston versus 9-2 BYU. 9:30 on Fox Sports 1. 4-7 Air Force versus 3-8 San Diego State. These two teams in the Mountain West used to be really good. I don't know what's happened this year. And then no TV mentioned. Probably not going to be on TV because it's Hawaii. 5-6 New Mexico versus 4-7 Hawaii. Let's see here. FCS Saturday, first round playoff start. All of them are on ESPN Plus except the last one. 11 a.m. ESPN Plus. Illinois State versus Southeast Missouri State, both 9-3. 11 a.m. ESPN Plus. 7-5 Central Connecticut versus 10-2 Rhode Island. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. UT Martin versus New Hampshire, both are 8-4. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. 8-3 Lehigh versus 10-2 Richmond. 1 p.m. ESPN Plus. 8-4 Eastern Kentucky versus 9-3 Villanova. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Shame it's not on regular TV, but 8-2 Drake versus 9-3 Tarleton State. 2 p.m. ESPN Plus. Northern Arizona versus Abilene Christian, both are 8-4. 9:15 p.m. ESPN 2, actually on TV. 9-3 Tennessee State versus 8-4 Montana. These are all FCS first round playoff games. So there you go. That is it. I'm going to be heading out of town tomorrow. If you are traveling, be safe. You've probably seen a lot of stupid people out there. A lot of people no smarter than the coffee table out driving the roads of America. We've all seen it. So be careful. Be safe also on your way home back. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. Eat a lot. Have fun. Enjoy the family and friends. Be safe. We will see you back on maybe Sunday. If not Sunday, definitely Monday. We'll see you then. Anyway, have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you.